Okay, perfect. We'll get started. If anyone else comes in, they can catch up on the start on the recording. So my name's Heather. I run Clarity Consultants, and we work with individuals and companies to help them create either personal or business growth plans that are very much tailored around them and what they do, and how they work and their personalities, etc. And today we're looking at LinkedIn. I absolutely love LinkedIn. I could genuinely talk about LinkedIn for hours on end. I have been off LinkedIn quite a bit over the last month, and it's interesting because one of the things I'm going to show you today is how you can see your stats on it. Um, and when I went on it today, I'm normally sitting at 70 to 80%, and I'm down in the 50s just now. So it shows how quickly you can change things for the better and the worse. But we're going to look at some key things today. One is how to optimize your profile. Now, there's loads of different things on LinkedIn that you can do to optimize your profile. We're going to look at some key ones today, and then we'll go on to how to find the right people as well. So that's always a hard one, how to actually grow your network. LinkedIn is very much designed for business networking and for personal brand profiles. And there's some really easy, simple ways to find the right people, as long as you know who it is you're looking for. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the algorithm and how that works. It's actually quite simple on LinkedIn. So I'll give you a few tips that you can use to make sure that you're utilising it the best you can to the best of its ability. And then how do you start conversations and start posting on LinkedIn too? Because that's another thing people worry with. How do they actually start sharing on LinkedIn? That first post, especially if you've not done it well, can be really nerve-wracking. So I'm going to share my screen now. I think that's probably most people in for now. Okay, the first thing I want to do is show you why it's so important to have what LinkedIn used to call an all-star profile. Now, an all-star profile was basically the name that was given to a complete quality profile. And there used to actually be a little star at the top of your profile if you had one of these. That doesn't exist anymore. But I wanted to show you this profile. So this is John Smith. Now, just to keep it easy, I have searched John Smith on LinkedIn. I know none of these people, so if you know them, it's not personal. But if you get a request through on LinkedIn to somebody who wants to connect with you, just in the comments, if this person, if this John Smith, who may be a lovely person, sends you a connection request, would you accept it? Now, he has no profile picture, he has no background, it's just an anonymous person. The chances are that most of you will not connect with this person. It's like walking into a room with a balaclava or standing in the corner, facing away from everybody. It's not inviting to connect. And you can see that he only has 33 connections. And then we have this John Smith. Now, this John Smith, would you connect with him? You're far more likely to. He has a nice, clear, smiley profile picture, but it's still not the most engaging profile. And then if we go on to this guy, he looks super happy and he has put a picture in the background. Now, it's not the best picture in the world, but there's no reason why you wouldn't connect with him. And then our final John Smith, again, another smiley guy, a nice clear professional picture and a branded background. So it shows you quite clearly the more importance of the initial impression that you give to a profile when people try to connect with you. And that's why I want to go on to look at your profile profile first of all, and why it's so important. So I'm going to use mine just to showcase some of the examples I want to make. So on my profile, it's like the last John Smith there. we have a professional picture, and we have a branded background. Now, if you work for someone else, this branded background doesn't have to be that company you work for. The joy of LinkedIn is it has these wee pencils, and that means that you can update something. So if you press that, it gives you loads of different examples of profile banners that you can use, or if you have something like Canva, you can create your own and update that. When you have your profile photo, you get 9 times more connection requests, and 36 times more messages. Now, we might not all want all those recruiter messages or the spam messages that come in, but we do want messages coming into our inboxes because they are potential leads. So it's really, really important that the first thing you do is get your visuals right. Now, it doesn't matter how nice we all think we are and how we always say, don't judge a book by its cover. You don't know most of these people that are connecting with you on LinkedIn. The only thing you have to go on is those initial visibility, what they're showing you. So the second part that's important is this part here. So this is your headline. Now this is like prime real estate on LinkedIn. This is where most searches come from. It's the part that most people will read. And there's over 300,000 people in the UK alone searching every single week on LinkedIn for somebody or something. And this generally is where they're going to find that information. So if you have things like your city, you're going to get 23 times more views. And if you mention the industry that you're in, you're going to get 9 times more views. And that's just some of the stats. Now, it's actually really hard to do everything you need to in here. In this section here, you want to say who you are, how you help people, and who it is that you help. And you only have 120 characters, so it's not easy to get that in there. Now, there's been different, I won't say arguments, debates over what you should put in here. Should it just be your title and the company you work for? Some people say it's not even required in there, but for me, if I'm using this to build sales and build relationships, then the first thing I want to see on someone else's is where do they work and what level they're at. Because I know that for when I'm looking to grow my business or connect with people, I need to know that at the right level that they can make decisions in order to, to build my business. So it's really important you do have that in here. And then this next part, what is it you do and who do you help? So business and personal brand growth, clear, achievable marketing and growth strategies, and it's for anyone who wants to be seen or heard. So we've got keywords in here as well that are really important. Your branding, business, growth, marketing, strategies, and seen and heard. So think as well, if you're thinking about it's a bit like hashtags, if you're thinking of an old style filing cabinet where you go into it and you've got all your letters or topics, what are the things people are going to be searching for to find you? What are those keywords, and make sure that they're in that headline for you. Okay, when you go into the little pencil up here, there's lots of different things that you can fill in. Now, if you've had LinkedIn for a while, maybe from the early days, and you've not updated it, when you go in here, you'll see there's quite a lot of asterisks now. Now, that means it's required, and you might not have that updated just now. It won't let you save unless you fill these in. I advise you always do it. Don't just try and come out of it. Where there's an asterisk, where there's required information, it's because there's a real purpose in it for LinkedIn. It's how the algorithm finds you and the information it uses to show you to other people. So you've got your first name, last name. Pronouns are not required. It's probably the question I get asked most on. I think it's a very personal thing whether you put your pronouns on there or not. The one thing I would say is if you feel that some of your potential clients or network it matters to them and you don't do it, then if it's going to have an impact in the business or the way you do business or the company you work with, it's worth considering. But it's not an essential thing, and it creates the biggest debate over any training I do within companies, especially where you've got a whole variety of different opinions and personalities. So, yeah, just be aware of that one and give it some thought. Um, the headline is where you can update it in here. If you're struggling with your headline, if you've got the premium version of LinkedIn, you can use AI to help you, but you can also go and use any free AI agent, Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT to help you as well. There is key things that LinkedIn's looking for, like those keywords. And then you're looking for your current position, and that'll be found in your recruitment section, which is down the bottom, your employment history. Industry, you want to make sure you get your industry in there. It adds about 10% of visibility for you when people are searching. The one thing I would say about industry on LinkedIn is it's quite hard to find one that really suits perfectly. Some people say you're in the medical field or marketing. If it's quite simple like that, then that's fine. You will be able to find them, but try and find something that's close as possible. Or again, think of that filing cabinet of what people might be looking for. Um, Education is essential as well. No, this one threw me. I didn't go to uni, so I wasn't sure what to put in here. Um, so I started off putting my high school in, which I thought was a completely irrelevant. However, I have had two customers and multiple conversations about people I've connected with who went to the same school as me. Not necessarily at the same time, but at a different time. So it does create conversations as well. But their education can also be um, like qualifications, accreditations, etc. You've got. It doesn't have to be, say, a formal university degree. And location is important too because most people will be looking for searching for people within their geographical area or the geographical area that they want to target. Um, okay. And then if you've got a website, you can add that in. Again, not essential, but for any of the company owners in here, it is worth doing it. And what's nice is that you can put the text that you want there. So rather than just say website or contact me now, you can put it into the tone that you would be using as well. Okay, so the reason I want to go through that in detail is that this section here is the most important part. This profile section is so important. It's where most of the searches come from, and it's just really key. The rest of your profile, it's not that it's not important, but it's not as key as the rest of it. If you think realistically about when you've looked at other people's LinkedIn profiles, how far down do you go on the profile? Okay. Saying that, I will just scan over parts of it and give you some tips as well. So your about section here. This is where you can go into more details. So you have a lot more space in here. You want to put in here what your value is, what your expertise is, and you want to show a bit of personality. Make sure it's always in first person. This is a personal profile, not a business profile. Oh, I froze. Okay, sounds intermittent. Okay, can somebody tell me where the last bit I got to was? And I will start from there again. Missed after college. Okay, perfect. You've not missed much. That's great. I'll go back to that bit then. So if we're in here then. Excellent. Okay, so your education part. So in there, basically, you can put any accreditations that you've got at all. It doesn't need to be university. It can just be any certificates, high school, etc. It really does create conversation. And then in here, your location. This is really important because this is where a lot of the searches come from. Most people will want to search within their geographical area that they want to connect with people. So this is important to put in as well. And then the website part is good because if you own your own company, you want people to get to it as quick as possible, but it's not essential. So if you are employed by someone else, remember this is your personal profile and not a business profile. So you don't need to put that in there. Okay, so you didn't miss much there. So this main part here, excellent. I think I've caught up. So this main part here, it's so important. Most of people who look on LinkedIn, this is the core part that they're going to look for. If you think realistically, how far down have you ever looked on somebody's LinkedIn profile? Now, if I'm going to meet with somebody or I want to learn more about somebody, I'll go into more detail. Generally, I'm looking at this first bit. So get that right. If you do nothing else in your LinkedIn after this, get your visuals right and get this headline right. A lot of questions as well. You can see that I've got a paid profile. I've had a paid profile since the start. I've always used it for business. It's much better if you are looking to do a lot of connecting with people and a lot of messaging people. I have to say, and I also get a lot more analytics. However, I have to say, if you are just using it for your own personal brand and you're not using it to say, search for new business leads, then there's not a massive difference. I would always recommend use the free version of LinkedIn, build up your consistency before thinking about paying for a LinkedIn account. I also, because I've been on it for so long, they've never put the price up, so it's still absolute pennies for me to be on there. But you'll see here that you get your analytics that are a lot more in depth as well. Okay, so the about section, this is probably the second most important thing. This is a bit I go to if I'm going to be meeting somebody or want to get to know somebody a little bit more before connecting with them. And in here, you have the minimum of 40 words and the maximum of 200 words. In here, you want to say who you are, what you do, why you do it, and the impact. You want to sell yourself in here. What's your value and your expertise? And you can also show a bit of personality in here as well. And always speak in first person. This is you, it's not a business profile. Caroline, you can list as many education as you like. If something's been deleted, try adding it back on and making a glitch in the system or an update. Okay, so in here, yeah, get a little bit more detail in there. This is where people will learn a lot more. Featured section is something that people do not make enough use of. This is where you can highlight key things. Have you had interviews or blogs or any key information you want people to see? It's really visible, it's there for everybody. Make sure that you're making use of that. And this part's only for yourself, your activity, but you can look as well. If you want to see what people are posting, you can go in here. Down to your experience. So what I would say with your experience is you do not have to list every single job you've ever had. So when I used to clean toilets when I was 13, nobody needs to know that. I had a health and safety job, selling health and safety courses, and I did it for 3 months after maternity. Worst job I've ever had in my life. Nobody needs to know that. It is not relevant just now. The joy of LinkedIn as well, if you take maternity or paternity leave or you take a year out, you can put that in as a valid time. And what it does is it takes away that big gap that makes people ask questions. So in here, you want to make sure that you're actually connected to the company you work with. It means it can take people off to look at that and give them more information. And then put in whatever relevant stuff you want to put in here. You'll notice in here I have put a couple of voluntary roles that I do as well. Now, down the bottom, you do have a volunteering section, okay? But I have chosen to put them, these particular ones in this section because they're really relevant to the job I do. Therefore, I want them to be noticed. I want them as far up the profile as possible. So you have the option to do both of them. And then scanning down, there's your education piece. So you can see, you can add more stuff in there. Caroline, if it's gone away. Any volunteering, skills. I don't know if anyone remembers when LinkedIn was like first out, and every time you logged in, it's like, do you want to endorse this person for certain skills? That's how this used to be built up. Now, what it means is, as you have gone through the years and maybe changed jobs or changed industries or roles, a lot of these skills won't be relevant. So, what you can do is, again, go into the little pencil and you can reorder them. So you can reorder the skills that you have, and you can add your own skills as well. But you can reorder the skills to make sure the ones that are most relevant are at the top. So there we go, health and safety sales. I put that down the bottom because I don't want to do it again. Nothing against health and safety, just wasn't the job for me. Okay, recommendations. I'd love to know if anybody on here asks for recommendations or gives recommendations. Recommendations is where effectively testimonials, and this is where you can have as many as you like on here, and you can press this, ask for a recommendation. So anytime you work with somebody, any client you've had, any patient you've had, if relevant, and you have to be careful with this one. Do you know, in some of your industries, it might be as difficult to get recommendations from actual customers. But you can ask for a recommendation for people you have worked with, for other suppliers, etc. So when you go in to ask for a recommendation, let's see, Karen, are you on here? No. Okay, I'm going to go for Laura because I'm meeting Laura after this. So in the relationship, you have so many options in here. They taught you, they were a client, you were their client, you were mentored, you were students together. So it doesn't have to be an actual client that you want something from. There's so many different options. But you want to build these up. If nothing else, it's great content for your own social media, but it's also great brand awareness for yourself as well. There's 62% increased buying power for people who have recommendations. They don't go straight on. If you ask somebody for a recommendation, you'll get a message into your inbox to say they've sent you one. You can ask for changes if you dare, but you can decide whether you want to show that on your profile or not. Okay, so that is a really brief overview of your personal profile. Like I said, this part is the most important, but go down into each of the pencils and have a little look at what are the essential parts you need to fill in and make sure they're done because they all have a purpose. You also have this add profile section. I've got quite a lot of different sections in mine. You might only have 2 or 3, but if you add profile, it'll tell you the ones that you're missing and you can choose to add them or not. But remember, if you add them, you must put in the essential information. Okay, I want to look at how to find the right people. Now, LinkedIn, of all the different platforms out there, LinkedIn is the best one to find people, the best one for business. And I want to show you this here. So I have a client and their biggest clientele is network rail or the rail industry. So what I've taught them to do is every single week, go onto LinkedIn. Now, this would generally take you 5-10 minutes, okay? They want to search, they want to link with as many transport managers as possible in network rail. So if you want to search for something, narrow it down as much as you can. So at the moment, I'm connecting for my company, I'm connecting with founders, so company founders in Glasgow and Edinburgh. So you put in what the job title is and network rail. So we searched for this and you can see here what comes up. So you've got a deputy or MD at Network Rail, a CFO at Network Rail, and there'll be loads, hundreds of them, okay? If you want to start narrowing this down a little bit more, the first button is people you're already connected with. Second, let's take out the first. The second is people that you have a connection in common with. So you can see here, these are mutual connections. It's always nice if you have a mutual connection when somebody requests to connect with you, you can see there's other people there. And third is basically somebody that you don't know at all. Now, to connect with people, you can just press the connect button and it goes off and it sends them a connection request. If it says follow, this means that you can see their content, but they can't see your content. If you want to actually build that connection, you need to go into their profile, go to more, and press the connect button. Now, the reason there is a follow and there's a connect is because LinkedIn trialed a creator profile badge that you could put on or off. This is available to everybody. And with that, it gave people the option to connect with you. So you see each other's content if they accept you, or you follow them and you see theirs and they don't see anything from you. So if you're not wanting to connect with somebody, but you like their content, then following is absolutely fine. You don't need any more than that. What LinkedIn does now is they've taken away the button for creator content, but it comes automatically if you're regularly using your LinkedIn. So if you use it once in a blue moon, you won't have the ability to do some things like send newsletters through your LinkedIn, have the follow button, etc. So, but if you use it more than 2-3 times a week, then you will automatically be given these rights. They'll never know other than they'll show up. When somebody connects with you, they automatically follow you as well. So even if you don't accept the connection request, they'll still be able to see your content. So at least they're getting visibility of yours, but you're not having to see their stuff if you don't want to. Other options you have up here, actively hiring. This is good if you're looking for a new job. You can see who in these particular industries is hiring. You can narrow it right down by location. So let's say you're interested in London. This will narrow it right down to only those in London. And then you've got current company. We've already put Network Rail, but it will also search in your history of jobs. If you've worked for Network Rail, it might still pull you out. So then you might want to start narrowing that down as well. But you can see that you can get really detailed on what you're searching for. And there's more options in here as well you can go through. Every single Friday, I will go in and connect with 50 new people. Now, another question that comes up quite a lot is, should I send them a message with that or not? I personally do not send messages on my first connection. The reason being, I'll answer that in a second, Natalie. So the reason I don't send a message straight away is I find it a bit spammy if somebody does it to me. I would much rather connect with somebody, look at their posts, maybe like their posts, maybe even comment on them, and start to build that relationship so that when I do send them a message, it's not out the blue, I'm not completely unknown, it doesn't look like spam and you're going to move it into your other folder. A lot of people do it. It annoys me so much personally that you'll see if somebody's sent a connection request, it'll tell you if they've sent a message with it. And I'll go and look at their profile then and go, okay, they're just going to sell to me or spam me. I'm just not even going to connect with it. So be really careful. Build that relationship first with people and then move on to sending the messages where relevant. Why do I do it on a Friday, Natalia? Solely because that works for me. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what day you do the connection requests. I tend to try on a Friday afternoon, be more admin and closing all my stuff up for the week. So I just tend to do it then. On a Monday is another kind of admin day for me. So if you own your own company and if you get a business page, you get 250 invites to your business page every single month. So I'll, at the start of the month, go in and use them on a Monday. Again, just because it works with me, there's no evidence that I've come across or seen that shows it makes a difference when you do those connection requests. Because to be honest, people will get them when they go onto their LinkedIn. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense in regards to how you can search and connect with the right people. I was with a client yesterday and I was like, who do you want to connect with? They're like, oh, all the companies, everybody. I'm like, let's narrow it down just now and have a focus at the moment. Who you get your most business from, or who do you feel is an opportunity to get business from, and connect with them. If you work for somebody else and you're using LinkedIn for your personal brand, rather than for work, so to speak, then who's in your field? Who is it that you want to see who do you want to see you as a person, and start connecting with them? Okay, so next up, the algorithm. Okay, I want to show you, first of all, this here. So I'm going to put this into the chat just now. Only one person has ever shown me this, and I've never seen anyone else talk about the social selling index since. So I'll try and share it with as many people as possible. So the social selling index basically is telling you how well that you are doing on LinkedIn, okay? And it's based on 4 components: establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. Now, this is where I said I'm normally up at 70, 80, but I've been away not using LinkedIn for a while, and it's down at 54. However, I've started using it again this week. I've put a few new tweaks to work with the algorithm, and I'm hoping by next week this will be back up. The average is round about the 50 odd mark, so don't get I don't know if anyone's ever had the little power meters put in their house, and it's an obsession to begin with. You're constantly looking at how much power you're using or gas you're using, and eventually you turn it off because it's just too depressing. This can be like that. Maybe check it once a month. So basically, this part here is telling you within your industry that you've put on your profile, how does your profile actually perform? So I'm within the top 8% of anyone on LinkedIn that is in my industry. And within your network is with people you're connected to on your LinkedIn. Sorry, I've got a croaky throat. And how do they actually measure this? So it's quite easy to fix these. So your first one here is to establish your brand, okay? Now, this is basically having your complete profile that we just talked about, using multimedia on your profile as well. So are you using video content, sound? What are the different types of content? Are you sharing blogs? What are all the different types of media that you can use? Are you mixing up the type of content you put out? Endorsements. How many endorsements do you have? Again, it pulls it from there. And long form posts as well, and the followers that you get from them. So it's not all just about little posts. What longer content are you doing too? LinkedIn does love you to put a document on or to have a big discussion or do newsletters on their platform. Those longer bits of content do give you extra visibility. Okay, the next is finding the right people. So this comes down to things like that search that we just did. How many searches are you doing? How many profiles are you viewing? How many days are you active? And the number of potential leads that you save. So what are the actual actions you're doing that relate to people within the LinkedIn platform? The next one is engage with insights. So how many engagements do you give and do you receive? Do you like? Do you comment? What are you doing for other people and what are they doing for you? Do people share your content? Do you join groups? Do you share a lot of your own content? How many posts are you putting out? Um, and also in mail, so those really annoying messages that I said I don't like, when they come in, those in mails from people you don't know, how do you respond to them? Now, a response can be just move it into your other folder so that LinkedIn can learn that that's spammy. But how do you actually respond to them? Now, deleting it could be fine. Saying no thanks could be fine. A wee thumbs up or a wee thumbs down. But it does judge you on how you deal with that stuff as well, which is really quite annoying. But there you go. And then build relationships. So how many connections do you have? And how many business leader and internal connections are within your network? And then for you, when you put out those connection requests, how many come back in? So you can request, in my 50 people I connect with, or I request to connect with on a Friday, how many of them are actually responding to me? So that's really important when you are deciding who you're going to search for and connect with. While you will be searching for people you want to connect with. If they don't want to connect with you, then that will impact it. Okay, so that is the main things the algorithm is looking for. How are you using it? How are you connecting with people? So right through that, you'll see there's a strand of connection and building relationships. And you've got to give to get as well on LinkedIn. So down here, it's just explaining that people within my industry, the average is 35. So I've got 54, whoop. And then in my network, the average was 40. And I've got 54. So yeah, it's not my best score, but I'm happy with it considering I've not used it. It's staying above average. So the sales dash SSI, save it, have a look at it, have a look where you are just now, and then maybe in a month's time or 2 months' time, once you start using your LinkedIn more, have a look and see where you are with that. The other thing the algorithm likes is, it's really simple in regards to it works in a 1, 2, 3 point system. So let's pick a post. Okay, here's Kat. I know Kat well, so let's use hers as an example. So if you like a post, it's 1 point, okay? Now points equal visibility. So I'm giving Kat a point. I'm also giving myself a point for engaging, getting that score up on the SSI. If I decide to share this post onto my own profile with a comment, we're each getting 2 points. So far we're at 3 points because I've liked it and shared it. I'm not going to share it because I've not actually even read the post yet. Comments are the best though. For every person who puts a comment, you get 3 points. Now, this is for every single comment. So if I leave a comment, that's 3 points. If Kat then replies to me, it's another 3 points. If I reply back, it's another 3 points. So a really nice trick is if somebody puts a comment on your post, ask them a question. It's inbuilt for us to actually reply to people. If somebody asks you a question, you answer. Who get into the trouble from their parents when an elder asked you a question and you didn't reply? It's inbuilt. So commenting, replying to comments is the best way to build your visibility. Also, what LinkedIn absolutely loves is the power of that first comment. So it really rewards early engagement. Now, I think it's very unrealistic to expect us to put a post out and to be sitting waiting for 15, 20 minutes for an early engager and the assumption they're going to be online so that we can reply straight away. Like, it's not realistic. But try and work out when your audience are online. So I always put mine out first thing in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning if I can, because a lot of the people I want to engage with me, they're up early, they're maybe scrolling their phone before kids have to go to school, or um, they've got that moment of quiet. Another good time is just before lunchtime, just before that normal commute time. So these are good times as well. If it's not quite so easy to tell on LinkedIn what the peak time is, if you use the likes of Instagram, then it's much easier to tell you your peak times. So I know from my Instagram that actually I have a lot of people past 8 o'clock at night who post as well, or who are online. Um, if I look at all my different times, there's quite clearly a lot of parents on there because it completely fits in around school run times. So again, that maybe 10 minutes you're sitting waiting on the school run is a good time for me. But it loves the first comment. If you use a scheduler, or if you schedule your posts in advance, so if I look at, if I show you up here, if you've created a post, okay, you can go to this wee guy here and you can schedule that post in. So for me and for my clients, I do all their posts a month in advance. And then you've got the flexibility to move stuff about. If you use a scheduling platform, and there's hundreds of them, you've got Metricool, Hootsuite, Planoly, there's loads out there. It'll allow you to put in that first comment at the start. Discard. So you can put in the first comment before you even post. So what I tend to do is, another thing that it doesn't like is you put in a link in the actual copy of your post. It doesn't like you doing that and taking them off the site. So, but if you put it into the first comment, it doesn't seem to mind or pick up on that. So quite often in that first comment, I'll use that to tag people, to put a link, but never ever leave it empty. I would say it's more important that you put the post out that suits you to add the first comment if you're not pre-scheduling it. Other things the algorithm like is videos. I personally don't like the format of videos, the way they go out now on LinkedIn, but it still likes it. It doesn't give it the same visibility that it did, say, a year ago, but it's still the highest visibility at the moment for the content. And you can see from the algorithm measure there, the SSI, that it is looking at what video content or multimedia you're using. It loves a poll. A poll's really good. So again, when you're in here, you can add in a wee poll. It's dead easy to do. People love them. They just click them as they go by. And another thing is that while this is a business platform, it is still social media, and it's really important that you treat it as such. It is a social platform. Again, if we look at the likes of Instagram or Facebook, we have the stories, and that's 24 hours behind the scene. You are building your personality. Well, you might have your curated feed. You have that behind the scenes. You have the relationship building side of it there. You don't have that in LinkedIn. They did try stories. I'm not sure if anyone saw that during lockdown, they tried doing stories and nobody used them. So this leads us on to what content that you should be pushing out there. And I'll always try and do something that's a bit personable every single week. That shows a bit of my personality and my values. I think it's really important people get to know you. I have found, I've done marketing for the last 20 years, and I've found that people are more and more going back to people buy from people. Now, it's always been the way, but as the mass of social media grew, everything came online. And now, even online, we're looking at the personal brand and how that personal brand is coming across, because people need to understand you. So if you're thinking about what to post, I'll just stop sharing this just now. So if you're looking at what to post, if you think of a funnel, okay, we may all have heard of sales funnels in the past. we're looking at the same type of thing for your posting. So if you think of the top of the funnel, that is your awareness stage. So people getting to know who you are, people getting to understand what you do. And you want most of the content, about 70% of your content. Can you hear me now, Natalia? Oh, it's frozen. So can you guys hear me? Back now, perfect. Guys, I've recorded this, so if there's a few seconds that go away, then you'll get the full recording as well. Okay, so, oh, so it's just, okay, so did you hear me when I stopped sharing the screen? Or just before I stopped sharing the screen? Just before. Okay, so basically, before I stopped sharing the screen, I was just saying the things that they love you posting more are the likes of polls. They love you putting up um, personal content as well. So when you think of Instagram and Facebook, where they used to share stories, or where we all share stories, it's 24 hours. You've got a real personality in there. But that personality doesn't come across so much on LinkedIn. We don't have the daily stories. So you want to be able to put in personal stories as well. And I've always found that if I do one personal story a week, it really boosts the engagement from people as well, because people buy from people at the end of the day. So, what to post? We could talk for hours on this, but if we think of a funnel, okay, the top of the funnel is the awareness stage. People are getting to know you, what you do, your company, or who you work for. So you want about 70% of your content to feed that awareness stage. Now, a lot of that is those personal posts as well, the getting to know you. Also looking at what's the latest news, what have you been up to? Um, Interviews, video interviews that you've done with other people as well. Free resources, if you've got downloads with the company that you work for, if they've got PDFs or downloads, or you've got free stuff on your website, you want to put in this stuff up so that people can get to know you and learn about you before they have to invest any money or actual time with you. Your middle section, so you've got their attention, they're liking you, they're still watching. We move into this middle section, and you want to do about 20% of content in here. And this is far more in-depth content. So this is like your thought leadership stuff. Where are you talking? What blogs are you doing? What articles have you got? If you've got longer video content, you want to be putting that out. And how-to guides as well. So you've done some freebie stuff, but maybe now there's some longer guides. If you think about products, you have all your free stuff. The middle products or services, that's your low tickets, your low ticket price. So you might have tickets to a workshop rather than a one-to-one. And then you go on to the bottom of your funnel, and this is your 10%. People are now at conversion. So you've had your awareness, you've had authority, so you've got their attention, and now you're at conversion. You want to sell into them. And in here, you want stuff that really proves your value. Case studies, testimonials, interviews with previous clients. These are the things that they've already trust you, they've already got to that point. Let's totally nail it. So those longer, more credible bits, and those testimonials can come from the endorsements on your personal profile as well. And if you think about products or service wise, then this is your high end, your high ticket service or product too. So potentially your one-to-ones. So that gives you a sort of different layers of the types of content. Most of it is relationship building, the awareness stage, but 20% is that middle stage of giving them a little bit more in depth, and then really giving them that core, I am the person to buy for. I'm just going to change your mind and make sure that you've got that secured in that 10%. What I will do for everybody is send you a copy of my pillars of content that has 6 different pillars of types of content and all the different types of posts that you can do under them. And if you were to do one of them every 2-3 days, you'll have enough content in that to do you almost a year. So I'll get that sent across to you. Okay. This has been useful. It has been kind of top level because we've only had an hour. We do an online workshop that is content creation and batch creation. So if the content side of you is still quite, oh, I don't know what to post, or the thought of putting a post out is quite scary, then what to do is just put yes in the comments, and I'll just send you some information on the online workshop. There's no obligation, but at least you'll get the information. It's a good timing because my throat's about to go. Um, but now is the chance. Okay, some questions. Um, what LinkedIn doesn't like to do apart from links? So it doesn't like you sending people away. Okay, it doesn't like you send people off the platform. That's the main thing. There's not a lot it doesn't like because generally, if you're putting posts out and there's engagement, then it likes us. Um, It wants call to action on its own platform. Absolutely. So what I do, Julie, is I have a business page, and once a week I will share a post from a business page to my profile with a little comment, because it's like those backlinks in your website is keeping people moving around the platform. Um, it likes consistency, so it doesn't like when you drop in now and again. Um, I'll go in twice this week. I'll go 4 times next week. But I'm going on holiday for 3 weeks, so I won't do it. It loves consistency. So all the work you put in, if you don't then continue that work, then it drops off really quickly. Like I said, with my SSI, I'm normally up quite high. I dropped the ball completely in May with just personal stuff going on, and I'm having to work to build that back up. But it does build quickly. So consistency. If you're going on holiday, for instance, I'm away for July. For all my clients, all their social media is pre-scheduled for the whole of July. Now that is not going to be going to include any of the engagement side of things and answering messages. But, when I have a cup of coffee, I can pop on and do that on my phone. So get consistent and be realistic. If you think that you can only post twice a week, do that. Don't try and do 5 this week and 1 next week. It loves consistency. So be realistic about what you can do that, and you can always build on it. Any other questions, you can stick it in the chat, or you can just take yourself off mute and ask me. Well, I'm giving that a few minutes. If you have booked through Viridor, you will get a feedback form afterwards. Please fill that in for them. Be as honest as you like. All feedback's good feedback for me. Yes, Natalia, I'll be sending a link. I'll put this onto a YouTube channel, and I'll send this out to everybody, whether you've booked through Viridor or through myself. And for anybody that's not managed to come on, they'll get sent that as well. And I will throw in a few links to some other resources that might be useful to you. With Viridor, I did another training that was looking at the business LinkedIn profile too. If that's of interest, it'll be on the same YouTube channel as the recording for this. And if anybody wants any one-to-one help, just drop me a message back. Hopefully that's been useful. Thanks for your messages. If you get any questions, stick them in. If not, have a great day, everybody. I'll have a look at your profile, Catherine, and drop you a message. Hey, it takes me ages to remove them all.
I know. Thank you so much. That was absolutely excellent.
Do you know that way I thought I'll try and do something about more details rather than just the overview this time?
It was really
So
good. I'd actually said to Emma to stay on, but she was having trouble link, so she had to come on by her phone. And I apologised right at the very beginning. It was somebody who was trying to get on who couldn't get on. So
Oh,
me,
it's fine. I thought, you know what?
technical.
It lets the numbers build up a wee bit anyway, so that's good. Oops, I'm recording this. I'll
Oh,
stop.